Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today I want to share a timeless story that has been passed down through generations. A tale that reminds us of the profound power hidden within a simple act of kindness. It's called The Tale of Trading Rice for Gold, and it's a story that I believe holds a valuable lesson for all of us, no matter where we are in our lives. So, grab a comfy seat and let's journey back to a time and place where magic was just a heartbeat away. Once upon a time, nestled in a quiet, sun-drenched valley, there was a small, humble village. The houses were made of earth and wood, and the fields stretched out like a patchwork quilt of green and gold. In this village lived a man who was known for two things: his tireless hard work and his boundless kindness. His name was Kenji. Kenji wasn't a man of great wealth. In fact, he was quite poor. His only possessions were a small hut, a few farming tools, and the clothes on his back. But what he lacked in material goods, he more than made up for with the richness of his heart. Every single day, Kenji's routine was the same. He would rise before the sun painted the sky with its morning colors, his silhouette a familiar sight against the pale dawn. He'd head out to the rice paddies, his feet knowing the path by heart. He worked with a quiet determination, tending to the young shoots, pulling weeds, and ensuring the water flowed just right. He'd work all day under the blazing midday sun and into the cool of the evening, only stopping when the last rays of light disappeared behind the mountains. He never complained about his lot in life. Instead, he found joy in the simple rhythm of his work and the growth of the crops he nurtured. Despite his poverty, Kenji had a spirit of generosity that was well known throughout the village. If a neighbor's harvest was small, Kenji would share a portion of his own. If a child was hungry, he'd find a piece of fruit or a sweet potato to give them. He believed that what little he had was meant to be shared, that a community thrives not on individual wealth, but on collective care. His philosophy was simple: if everyone gave a little, no one would ever have to go without. And so he lived his life a beacon of quiet strength and compassion in his small corner of the world. One sweltering afternoon, the sun was at its peak, beating down mercilessly on the fields. Kenji had been working for hours, and his stomach rumbled with hunger. His wife had packed him his usual lunch, a simple bowl of steamed white rice. It wasn't much, but it was enough to replenish his energy for the rest of the day's labor. As he made his way to a shady spot under a large willow tree to eat, he noticed a figure huddled by the side of the dusty road. It was an old man, his clothes tattered and worn, his face etched with lines of hardship and fatigue. He looked incredibly weak, his body frail and his eyes clouded with hunger. The old man was a beggar, a traveler who had likely walked a long way without a bite to eat. He sat there, shivering slightly despite the heat, looking at the ground with a sense of utter despair. Kenji's heart immediately went out to him. He saw not just a beggar, but a fellow human being in desperate need. In that moment, his own hunger seemed to vanish, replaced by an overwhelming sense of pity and compassion. Without a second thought, Kenji walked over to the old beggar. He knelt down so they were at eye level and offered his bowl of rice with a warm, gentle smile. "Old father," Kenji said softly, his voice full of genuine concern. "You look like you haven't eaten in days. Please, take this, it's all I have for lunch, but you need it far more than I do. I can work on an empty stomach for a while longer, but your strength needs to be restored." He pushed the bowl gently into the old man's trembling hands. The beggar looked up, surprised. He saw the sincerity in Kenji's eyes and the genuine kindness on his face. He had been ignored by so many others who passed by, but this poor farmer, who clearly had so little himself, was offering his only meal. Tears welled up in the old man's eyes. He nodded gratefully, his hands shaking as he took the bowl. He ate the rice quickly, as if it were the most delicious feast he had ever had. Every grain seemed to bring a little more life back into his weary body. When he finished the last bite, a visible change came over him. The weakness in his eyes was replaced by a spark of vitality, and a faint smile touched his lips. After finishing the meal, the old beggar looked at Kenji, his gaze now clear and bright. The frail, defeated man from moments before seemed to have transformed. He straightened his back, and a serene, almost mystical aura surrounded him. "Young man," he said, his voice no longer weak, but firm and resonant. "You have a heart as pure as the morning dew. In a world where many turn a blind eye, you chose to see. You chose to share." He reached into the folds of his ragged robe and pulled out a small, ordinary-looking stone. It was smooth and grey, like any other pebble one might find by a riverbed, but as he held it out, the stone seemed to catch the sunlight in a peculiar way, and for a fleeting moment it glittered with an inner light. "As a token of my gratitude," the old man continued, "I want you to have this. It is a gift in return for your selfless act. Keep it safe." He placed the smooth stone into Kenji's calloused palm. Kenji, slightly bewildered, looked at the pebble. He hadn't expected anything in return. His act was born purely from compassion. "Thank you," he said, bowing his head respectfully, "but your well-being is reward enough." The old man simply smiled, a knowing, mysterious smile, and with a final nod, he turned and walked away, disappearing down the road as if he were a wisp of smoke. Kenji looked at the small stone in his hand. It felt warm to the touch. Shrugging, he put it in his pocket, thinking it was a nice memento of the encounter. He returned to the fields, his stomach empty but his heart full. The rest of the afternoon passed quickly, and as the sun began to set, he packed up his tools and headed home. He was tired and hungry, but a sense of peace settled over him. When he arrived at his small hut, his wife greeted him at the door. "You must be starving," she said, concerned. "Did you enjoy your lunch?" Kenji smiled and told her the story of the old beggar. As he was recounting the tale, he reached into his pocket to show her the peculiar stone the man had given him. But when he pulled it out, both he and his wife gasped in astonishment. The dull grey pebble was gone. In its place, shimmering and glowing warmly in the dim light of their hut, was a lump of pure, solid gold. It was the same size and shape as the stone, but it was now a thing of incredible beauty and immense value. They stared at it, speechless. The stone had transformed. The old beggar was no ordinary man. He had given them a magical gift. From that day forward, Kenji's life was forever changed. With the gold, he was able to buy a larger plot of fertile land, a sturdy home for his family, and better tools for his work. He was no longer poor. But while his circumstances improved, his character remained the same. He never became greedy or arrogant. He never forgot the lesson he learned on that dusty road. He remembered the feeling of an empty stomach and the profound gratitude in the old beggar's eyes. He continued to work hard, but now he used his newfound wealth to help the entire village. He built a granary to store food for lean times, helped repair the homes of his neighbors, and made sure that no child in the village ever went to bed hungry. His generosity grew with his fortune. He became a pillar of his community, not because of his wealth, but because of his unwavering kindness and his belief in sharing his blessings. He lived a long and happy life, always remembering that his fortune didn't come from a magical stone, but from a simple bowl of rice given with an open and compassionate heart. And that's the heart of this story. It's a beautiful reminder that generosity is a currency of its own. Kenji's act of kindness wasn't an investment. He expected nothing in return. Yet the universe, in its own mysterious way, rewarded him tenfold. The moral is clear and powerful. A generous heart will always be rewarded, often in ways you least expect. It might not be a stone that turns to gold, but it could be the loyalty of a friend, an unexpected opportunity, or a deep, abiding sense of peace and purpose. Kindness creates ripples, and you never know how far they will travel or what blessings they will bring back to you. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. I hope it resonated with you as much as it did with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Has an act of kindness ever brought an unexpected reward into your life? Until next time, take care and be kind to one another.